How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring you along with me to talk about why you need a variable ND filter. So let's jump right into it. So first and foremost, we have to talk about what is a variable ND filter. The variable ND filter is basically a filter that you put on your lens that you can basically get your footage to look more cinematic, because it basically lets less light in so that you can also leave your aperture more open to have that creamier kind of blurred background in your videos and or photos. So basically it just helps reduce the light that you put inside your camera, just like so. So I can open it, close it, and so on and so forth, and you see what it does. So back to kind of normal. So now you might be wondering, why do you need a variable ND filter? So you probably are watching YouTube and all these videos, and you see your favorite content creators having the nice little blurred background, or in movies whenever they have the nice little kind of bokeh in the video to make it more cinematic. They're more than likely using a variable ND or some sort of ND filter. Some cameras have built-in ND filters and some don't. So that's why you need a variable ND filter if you want to get those nice blurred backgrounds for your footage to look more cinematic and just kind of not as digital, if you will, kind of with like how our phones meant, like basically they just have everything in focus. So that's one big perk of why you need a variable ND filter. So let's pretend that we want to shoot in broad daylight without an ND filter. Right now I'm shooting at about f16, and I'm kind of behind a little bit of shade because the sun decided to come out just a little bit more, and basically I have to keep it at that. So now you see that most of the stuff is not blurred as it would be with an ND filter. So that's one of the greatest reasons why you do need an ND filter, if you want to have that blurred background to make it a lot more cinematic feeling. So now that I've stepped over here, I'm going to bring it up to the f22 right now, and I'm still overexposed theoretically, but as you see, everything's kind of in focus. So that's one of the reasons why you kind of want to have either an ND filter or try to shoot where there's more shade, so that you can kind of lower that aperture to not be as basically as narrow with the f22, and have everything in focus so that you get a little bit more blur. And now this is the video with the ND filter on. Now I'm at 2.8 for my f-stop, and here you go. This is what it looks like. So if you can see, there's a little bit more of a blur. This is why, one of the reasons why you want to use that variable ND filter, to make it look a lot more, you know, just softer in the eye, I guess, and you can focus where you want it to be focused more for the viewer. That's one of the main reasons. So that's kind of one of the reasons why you need to have one of these. So let's pretend that your lens can go down to like a 1.4, and you want to shoot at the most open that you can just because you want to. I mean, not always will I do that to shoot at 1.4. Usually I kind of try to keep it at like 2.5, 2.8, just so that it's a little bit sharper. But let's pretend that you wanted to do that because you wanted to add more creamy bokeh to your video. So without the ND filter, I can't really do that because obviously it's going to be way overexposed. So if I wanted to do that, I'm going to have to really use an ND filter so I can show you the big difference. So I'm going to put on the ND filter into this lens, and then I'm going to show you what it'll look like with having it at 1.4 and just kind of filming myself. So now I'm going to show you another scenario of why you can use a ND filter for your photography as well. So we're going to go into this waterfall area and then show you a little bit of how you can kind of make the water look a lot smoother, and also show you what long exposure can do whenever you're wanting to take a long exposure shot to kind of get rid of people if they're walking by and everything like that. So let's go on over there and take some photos. It's somewhere back there. So here we go. So I have the variable ND on here so I can really open up and then close it down to get a little bit of the nice bright light out. So basically what I wanted to do is do a long exposure, because it's very good to have the variable ND if you want to take long exposure photos in broad daylight. So we're gonna test it out and see how it turns out. So basically that was an 8-second long exposure shot. So basically what you can do with that is to try to get rid of the people that maybe be walking over there, just because you can get a little bit of the long streaks, which this is cool to do also with lights, but it's really good for also for daylight. So we're gonna try to do a long exposure shot right here with the water to show you how you can smoothen out waterfalls or anything with moving water, with adding more of the ND filter to make it darker and letting your shutter speed be longer and open more to let more light in, just to make it smoother. So we're gonna take a photo real quick and show you. So there you go, that is the reason why you need a variable ND filter. If you want to make your footage just look more cinematic and just more pleasing to the eye, variable ND helps you out to make sure that your aperture is basically at the lowest it can go, so you can get that creamy bokeh background and make your footage a lot more professional looking. That's what a lot of cinematographers do, a lot of your favorite YouTubers have, so make sure to just get one. I have a very cheap one. I think I got it for like 40 bucks maybe. I think it's a Tiffin, I can't even remember. Never mind, it's a Bauer or whatever. I got it in Adorama or something like that, so it's been a while since I've gotten it, and it does the job just perfectly. Some of them add a little bit more vignetting that you would want, and that's perfectly fine. It's up to you. You can just kind of compare, and you're not gonna go wrong with just whatever you get. Just make it work for you. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.